Hi everyone. So I spent my afternoon or most of the day today just listening to tennis. I didn't feel like doing too much. And if I go to the store, they're going to call the police, isn't it? If I go out. I wanted to go out, but I thought, let me just stay at home. They'll call the police. So I didn't go out today. And it was a cold day anyway, so I thought it's a good day to stay at home. I might make some soup this evening, and I might actually dare the heavens and go to the shops, go for a walk in almighty Canada. If you come here, I just want to warn you guys what to expect. You must expect to earn a salary of $9,000 to $36,000 a year. Never get promotions, never get opportunities to move into those relationship manager roles, HR business partner, opportunities where you can be coached and developed and move into your analyst roles and then your roles where you have stability. That's the reality of Canada. If you think you're going to come here and get what you get in Zimbabwe, where you're going to be stable, you're going to get wage increases every year, you're going to get bonuses, your 13th paycheck, you're going to get managers who care about you, you're not going to get that. And if you do get it, like I got it, people will use it against you. They don't want people to like you. So if you get into a role, like I got into roles in the banks and places like that, they'll say you only got that job because they like you. That's what they did to me. They did the same thing at BMO, they did it at TD, they did it at other places I worked at. And then there's also the cultural barriers. So one time CIBC let me go because the manager, he didn't like my approach. He came into work one day and everybody else liked me, but he was the one that hired me and he didn't like my approach, so he let me go. So this is how the life goes in Canada. You think you're going to come here, you're going to have stability, you're going to be mentored, you're going to get shadowing, you're going to get into those jobs paying you $150,000 a year. And you don't get it. When I was laid off from TD, Murray Laundry, she told me, she said to me, with your skills and qualifications, you should be earning $120,000 a year. They don't have an opportunity for you to put you into a relationship manager role. You're very good, but they don't have anything. So then you'll end up just taking anything, menial jobs paying you $11.25 an hour, working at the elections, commuting 3 to 4 hours a day, coming in the cold, waking up in the dark, coming home in the dark. And do things get better? No, they don't. So you're scrounging, begging people to give you reduced dues for your HRPA, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop like after 1 or 2 years. It just goes on and on and on and on. And even people have tried to get me into BMO, to get me into RBC, to get me back into TD. And when I go in, I do a good job. But there'll be something like they won't like how you ask the question, or you'll make assumptions. Like normally, where we come from, normally meetings are held in a business space, in an office. They get offended if you ask them, what's the office address? You have to say, where is the meeting being held? What is the location? How would you know that if you are not from this culture? So they make a list of points of all the things that they find against you. Then they call the agency and they let you go. And if other people make mistakes, that gets blamed on you. TD let me go because one of the people that we were recruiting, I told her, you need to save your thing in this folder. She saved it in the wrong folder, so they let me go. You tell people what to do to get their phone lines fixed, they don't do it. Then you say, oh no, it's your fault. That's what they did to me over and over and over. And then you get jobs where you do extremely well, you win Employee of the Month, not once, but many, many times. When those layoffs come, they don't make any exception for you. They let you go. They put you on temporary layoff, or they let you go completely. And here in Canada, there's no safety net. There's no safety net. They have the Employment Standards Act, but they get around it. So even with Teleperformance, they told me that you have to go and apply online. If we don't get anything for you, we're not going to give you any severance. I said, but you pay my salaries. They said, no, the client is in America, so we're not going to pay you anything. So if we don't find anything for you, that's the end of your contract. And you can't fight them. You can't, even if you go and get a lawyer or whatever, that amount of money that you spend on that lawyer, you might as well spend it on your rent, because your court case will drag on and on and on, and you won't get anything at the end of it, or you might get a tuppence. And in the meantime, they'll ruin your health, they'll ruin your family life, they'll ruin everything. I didn't do anything wrong in this country. Nothing. I did everything right. I had glowing reviews from TD, Credit Suisse, RBC. RBC liked me. They liked me so much, they were all crying when they had to let me go. I told Robert Linklater, he said to me, I can't hire you, because if I want to hire you, I have to go and get permission from the CEO. I said, go and get it. Go and ask him. Tell him, I like this girl. I want to hire her. I want her as my executive assistant. He just looked at me. They were all crying. Cecilia Fang, Robert, Michelle, all of them. They were all sitting and crying. I said, now, why are you guys sitting and crying? That doesn't help me. So that's the life here in Canada. That's how it is. So if you come here, you must be prepared for that. You think, oh, you're leaving Africa, you're leaving all the power cuts, you're leaving behind the humiliation, you're leaving behind everything. No, you're coming here to a worse humiliation. You're coming here to a life of begging, a life of walking the streets looking for jobs, a life of taking subsidies because you can't afford to pay your electricity, using food banks. And even some of my friends, my mother told me not to talk to them. So I blocked them. Pidgesh Rodriguez and Sona and all of them, they all told me we're better off in Africa. And you know what? I agree with them. I agree with them because here you're treated like a child. You're treated like you can't make your own decisions. And yet your education, your poise, your decorum, your manners are better than theirs. You're better than theirs. But you won't get those opportunities paying you over $100,000 a year. You can work like a dog. You can come in early. You can leave late. You can impress them. When those opportunities come up, they won't give it to you. They won't give it to you. They'll never give it to you. They'll give it to their friends' daughters, their friends' sons. They'll give it to people in the church who are second and third generation. There's many, many jobs I applied for in the church, in the Jesuits, in banking, many, many jobs. They don't give it to you. And if you make one mistake, they'll let you go. There are VPs who are working there. They don't even have half the skills that I have or the education that I have. But because they're getting the mentoring or they had that support from people like Riaz Ahmed, that's how they stayed there. If it was done on a compliance matter or if it was done the right way, I would be in a good paid job in this country. All these people, Laura and all of them, even her own managers told me, they said, she wants you to think for her. I said, how can I think for her? I don't think like her. She doesn't think like me. She needs to tell me what she wants to do. And you can't expect to show somebody once and they get it perfect the first time. That's very unrealistic. It's very unrealistic, but that's the life here. If I didn't have my friends, I wouldn't be able to cope with everything I had to cope here. Being a caregiver to my mother and her husband, listening to all their problems, and then the commute here, half the time the TTC doesn't work. I read an article today saying that most Canadians are suffering from mental health problems because of their commute. Because half the time the train is delayed, the bus doesn't come on time. They changed the bus route. We used to have a number 52 bus here. It was very convenient. It used to take a straight route from Eglinton, and then all the way up to Lawrence West. They changed the route. So now that bus, which used to take you 5 minutes to get somewhere, it takes you 1 hour. Like, everything is just made very difficult. Everything. Even if you want to buy a house, compared to England, it's very difficult. My brother and my sister-in-law told me, we don't earn that much money, but we save our money and we can buy a house. We can afford to live. I said, oh, you must come here. Told him, I said, come here. We can all be a family and we can all struggle together. I said, come, leave England. Don't stay there in England. Come here. You think the life is easier? Come here. I told him so many times, I wish I could have stayed in England. This life here is for people who want to be slaves. It's for people who like socialism. Not for people like me who are capitalists, who want to come up in life, who want to own properties, who want to own cars, who want to travel. It's not that's not life here. If you come here, you've come here for your education, study and all that, and then do nothing with it. I had to find ways to apply my education in the business, in my volunteering, in helping South Africa, helping Zimbabwe. Otherwise, that education would have gone to waste. It would have been wasted. Because I don't even get opportunities to give retreats in the church. That's why I do these online prayers in daily life, retreats in daily life. That's why I'm doing it. This country is for people who like being poor. That's who it's for. It's not for people like me who want to own properties and own cars and travel. And I did more traveling in England compared to here. I did more there compared to here. And even to rent a room in a house, if you're not earning an income, no one wants to give you a room to rent. So how are you supposed to rent? When I sold my place at Rosewell Gardens, I was first looking for a room to rent in a house. Nobody would take me. They said, oh, you don't have a job. I said, yeah, but I sold my place. I've got the proceeds from the sale of that house. No one would take me. No one. And in Credit Suisse, they promise you references, then they don't give it. Then they want to send you cease and desist and take you to court and all this. You shouldn't offer people references if you don't want to give it, especially somebody like me who's done a good job for you. Now look at what's happening to the banks. I can assure you my managers are all sitting and crying for me. All of them. They all like me and they all miss me the same way I miss them. You go and ask Jason Peel. Go and ask Rajiv Chief. Go and ask any of them. Ask them. Their money doesn't put Belinda there. They all tried to get me into good paid jobs, to get me into jobs that pay me better. They all tried to help. No, people had to spoil everything for me. They spoiled it. They could have helped me to keep my property for me and my mom so I could have a nest egg. They spoiled it. Now look at what's happening to Canada. You can sit down and cry and you see what's happening to this country. It's sad. Paul Martin did a good job when he had that balanced budget and all that. And now look at what's happening. They want to bring in maid. They want to bring in things that are against God's laws. So, this is the result. See? Now everybody's got mental health problems. Everybody's suffering. There's only a few people at the top and there's no middle class. There's no middle class in Canada. There's nothing. There's nothing. It's very sad. I'll go back to Zimbabwe if I get a job there. I don't mind. I'm very flexible. They taught me how to be flexible. So I can be flexible. I do a good job.